Hey guys, I'm getting ready to paint a couple pieces. I'm going to paint this piece right here white, and my cat's trying to attack the tripod. I'm going to paint these two pieces white. I've got two pieces of each. Right now they are only painted with the primer, and you really got to paint these with primer. Get out of here! You really got to paint these with primer. I feel like that big fat kid is trying to do the Kamehameha and his brother's interrupting him. You gotta prime these white before you paint them, and that's because this white paint that I'm using, white paint is always thinner, and black paint is always thicker. That's something that I've always knew, but I didn't really think that it would be relevant for spray paints, but, you know, it is. And what I'm going to be doing with this, because I've already masked off this part right here and painted that part. Get out! I've already masked this part black. This cat has never seen a tripod before. What I like to do is take a piece of tape, and then you take it and you stick it on your shirt, and you make sure it gets up all the lint and everything, and then you take it off. And do it like once or twice, and now it's not so sticky, because sometimes it will peel off the paint if it's too sticky. If you get out of here, god damn it! It'll too sticky. If it's too sticky, it'll pull the paint off. So you just stick that on there. Make sure it's got a good connection. And then gently cut it away without carving into the piece. Just enough to cut the tape. Yes, I'm left-handed. And there you go. Gotta make sure that's stuck tightly down, even though I did stick it on my shirt a couple times to get up a little bit of lint so it won't be as sticky. It's good to have a tight connection, and I just leave the extra on, it wouldn't hurt. So I'm going to be painting this white. Now let's take a little trip outside. Alright. The most important thing when you're painting is that you have your piece here, and you have your paint is to hold. You got to shake it up first, of course, but you got to start off on one side of it and just drag it over. Just drag it over. That way, if you start off spraying it on top of this, it'll be very blotchy. And if you end up spraying it on the piece and you don't like drag it all the way over, then it's not going to be even. So you want to do that. Yeah, see what I'm doing there? Each time I do that, I'm actually pressing this button. You don't want to hold it and do this. You don't want to do that, because if you hold it, then it's just going to start shooting out all the paint. You want to just have short sprays. So I just press it each time I go across. Alright guys, a few things I'm going to be doing are putting some battle damage on the feet, and putting a little bit of scarring on this laser cannon here, and painting the wires on this. I'm going to be doing that all the same color. First, you want to get some water in a little dish or something to wash the brush off with. You just don't want to mix the paint with the water, because this is not watercolor paint. Take your container of paint here, crack it open. And this type of paint, you see, it's very watery. But once you stir it up properly, then it will become thick. Stir it slowly, that way it can all mix. and you'll see that it's actually becoming a bit different. See how it is? Very shiny. This is a chrome silver. And once it's mixed up, then you can stir it a bit faster if you want. See? That's a big difference from where I first started off with it, before stirring it. And what you want to do with this is, take your brush completely dry, and just get a little bit of it wet, a little bit. And then you take it on your napkin here, and you just dry your brush off with it. That's why it's called dry brush. Now it's got barely a little bit on here, and then you take the foot, and this probably has a bit too much on it, but it'll do. Yeah, it's a bit too much still, even though I can't even see it on the brush anymore. See what I did there? I'm going to do it all the way around a little bit. Some on the back. Because it's a foot, it's supposed to be all messed up. Alright. See what I did there? So it kind of looks like it's scarred a little bit. With a very dry brush, I just brushed that on there. And it's pretty good, pretty easy to see on black. I did some on the back right there and on this side as well. And whenever that dries, see right there, it's just going to look like it's scarring from where it's being scraped all up and everything. And I still got it on the brush. This little bit that I got on the brush here goes a long way, because all that you're doing is you're just like dryly sticking it on there, and then each bristle just drags along, and then it makes each bristle leave an imprint on it, so that it's like scraping. It leaves that same effect. And it works great for lines, because as you see here, along the heel line of the foot, it actually picks it up a whole lot, and it looks like it's been all scraped off. The camera's not the best for zooming, but now I'm going to start on this, because I want to do a particular thing here with the cables. I still want a little bit on here, but I'm going to get the cables first before anything else. So that's the most important thing I need to do right now is the cables. Give that is. I'm going to just open this up so that I can get to work on all the pieces. First, I'm going to put a bit of paint in here. Shit. Because where they meet, they're going to be like scraping, I'd imagine, so you want to put some damage on there. And if they've ever fired, you're going to want to put some around the front. So yeah, you can see like the light lines coming from there, but it's very heavy on the front that it's silver. Like all the paint's worn away, and then on the side you get like the lines and such. Yeah, it's good to do it lightly. Alright, so these are what the feet look like after a couple of those pieces I painted. They're all dry now, and I can't have too much weathering on the foot without any weathering on this. So I'm going to be weathering this piece as well. I've already showed you how to weather on black pieces. It's the same for white pieces, but it's a big difference as far as the appearance. Make sure my brush is dry, and then you can see my workspace. Alright. Stir this up a bit more. did there, if you can see the fine detail, I went in on this edge right here. So this part here is silver. Like all the edges on this are silver from the paint being scraped away, and on the sides right here you can see like the brush strokes almost. So I don't know if you can see the detail on this camera, but if you catch a certain light, you'll see just a little bit all the way around here and a bit more on the sides right there as being the chrome color. Alright, now I have the thrusters here, and you can see the completed thrusters. See, there's a lot of spaces like that right in there that really need to be touched up with the black, and that's completely fine. So I'm going to do that with a paintbrush right now. I'm going to add a little bit of damage on this. And yeah. I'm regretting using the gunmetal color on this because it's too big of a difference between the white and the black. Still got some black on my brush, so that'll be fine with me. And it's not going to take a whole lot, just a little dabble there, a little dabble do. Because you're just touching up, you don't need to paint the entire area. Don't need to do that. And even at this point, your methods aren't really going to be too important of how you brush it on, your strokes or whatnot, because you won't see it because you're putting so little on just to cover up that area that it won't be shown in the long run unless you get like super close to it. Yeah, there you go right there. And for the next one, great tip that everyone needs to know is to cap up your paint when you're not using it. That's the reason why it's like running down the side over here and the jar's like almost empty, because I was on the porch and I knocked it over, made one hell of a mess. But yeah, I would say that it's almost worth it to not make a mess. So I'll just as easily go out and buy another $2 container of that black paint, and I prefer to I'll do that a billion times over. Well, not a billion times, because that'd be a ton of money. But I'll do that any day over having to clean up a pile of black paint.